to welcome you to this wonderful celebration of moving Cray's offices to downtown St. Paul in this beautiful building renamed Cray Plaza. We have 3 speakers that I'm going to introduce to you. Following their comments, we're going to go over to the front door of Cray's offices and cut a ribbon, and then you're all invited to stay and enjoy some refreshments and help us celebrate. You know, this lease transaction is one of the largest and most creative lease transactions done in last year. I think it was the most significant one in our entire metro area. And a lot of obstacles had to be overcome. There's an old saying, obstacles are the things you see when you lose sight of your goal. Well, we had a lot of obstacles, but we never lost sight of our goal. And the first speaker that I'm going to introduce now is our own St. Paul Mayor, Chris Coleman. Chris's vision and his perseverance and his stick-to-itiveness to make this happen and creatively address challenges is what really made this transaction happen. So it's my pleasure to introduce our mayor, Chris Coleman.
Obviously, this is a spectacular day for the city of St. Paul. Not that this is the official move, I guess this is the official ceremony, but we've already seen the vibrancy and the activity of the new employees that have come down to this building. It's been very exciting. I want to thank John Lebowski and everyone at Capital City Partnership for their leadership and helping move this deal forward. We had some incredible city staff that were really instrumental in overcoming some of the challenges that we had. Cecile Bedore and Ellen Muller from the Planning and Economic Development Department. Martin Schickel was an important element of that. Jim Bloom from our Department of Safety and Inspections. Bob Kessler, the leader of that department, really went to work and said, how do we get this thing done? John talked about obstacles. This was a team of folks that worked with the folks at Galtier, that worked with the folks at Cray to say, all right, we got to figure out how to knock these things down. This is too important of an opportunity for us to lose, and it's very exciting, and we are very, very glad to be here today to not only welcome the employees, but to rename the building. Little known fact, that ever since September 11th, the conservatives on the council have been demanding that the French name come off the building. So finally we have gotten to this point here today. You know, there was an article in the paper today that said people don't understand my sense of humor. I guess it must be true. The fact of the matter is, I was joking with George Latimer, the former mayor from several decades ago, and I said, George, I'm just so happy that you built all those buildings so many years ago that I could finally come along and fill up. It's taken a little while, but things are changing down here. We've already seen the changes that have come as a result of new restaurants and bars that are opening up. We see new wine bars that are opening up just in the corner, new wine stores. That's very exciting. But it's kind of a synergy. The more that we can get some of that nightlife into town, as Wayne well knows, the more that we can bring companies into town, the more companies that we have coming into town, the more nightlife we're going to attract, the more festivals, the various things that we can have in Mears Park. This is a really exciting moment in the history of the city of St. Paul, and we're very pleased to have you down here. To everyone that made this possible, particularly Wayne Coogle from Cray and Nan, who worked so hard. I think I saw Nan over there somewhere, didn't I? Oh, there you are. I knew I saw you over there, you know. Nan Hines and Steve Resnick, who are with the building. Scott Burns with Gov Deliveries, just one of those tireless advocates for the city of St. Paul. And all those that have made this day possible, I want to just say thank you. Welcome to St. Paul. We have a bright future together.
Now our next speaker is a person that doesn't need any introduction to Cray employees. It's Wayne Coogle, but let me tell you about my involvement with Wayne. When I first met Wayne, it was so clear to me that he was one of the most creative people that I have ever met. He had a vision for what Cray could do. He wanted to enhance the image and brand of the company to reflect its position as a world leader in supercomputing technology. And I think the space does that. He wanted space that could attract and retain the best and the brightest creative class of employees, which all of you Cray employees represent. Space that would reflect positively to clients, to vendors as well, and even to convince investors that this is a great company to invest in. So Wayne was a pleasure to work with throughout the entire process, and he was very creative in overcoming obstacles and problems. So my pleasure to introduce Wayne Coogle.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody, and I definitely want to thank the City of St. Paul. In particular, Mayor Coleman here is when we first started going through this process, Area, our tenant rep, had said, what do you think about going within a 15-minute radius of your current facility? And he introduced us to St. Paul. And Mayor Coleman got a hold of my cell phone. And I get a phone call, and he says, this is Mayor Coleman. I said, oh, really? Because I'd like to invite you to the city, and we'll have a chat. So we had a discussion. We actually, quite honestly, we weren't looking at St. Paul. And Mayor Coleman talked about what was going on in St. Paul, the plan for St. Paul, the Metro Transit for St. Paul, what was going on in Lower Town. I said, hey, this may work. So, and then we got involved with the city staff. Amazingly impressed with how proactive this staff was to actually help us work through. We're new to the city, we didn't know what to do. And so they helped us through all these different obstacles, as John's talked about, and helped us get through it. It was just really amazing. And they continue to help us. You know, we're new here to the community. They've been introducing us to a number of places throughout the city, and it's been fantastic. Second is John Lebowski. He's been kind of quiet in this whole thing, but he really kind of orchestrated introducing us to the business community here in St. Paul. And we were showered, I mean literally showered with welcome packages from all kinds of businesses, restaurants, hotels, entertainment, whatever it may be. We got showered with gifts and welcome packages, and in return, all of our Cray employees are now frequenting all the businesses here in St. Paul. I know the YMCA is much, much busier. There's about 60 of us that signed up right away working at the YMCA, so that we know that we're definitely now contributors to St. Paul. We had three kind of objectives here. You know, our first one was any typical publicly owned company, we got to do these things on time and in budget, and that set a certain number of constraints. The second one is we wanted to kind of maintain the spirit and heritage of Cray. We have a great, great name, but we really wanted to celebrate what we're here for in the future. And we've had a number of discussions about, wow, do you guys even exist anymore? What are you guys all about? It's introduced us to a whole new number of people that have actually opened it up for that just very topic. It's great talking about Cray. And then last is building a vibrant atmosphere to work in. And when I say atmosphere, it's just not the offices that we live in. It's what do we do during the day? How do we do our day-to-day activities? What are we going to do during the summertime? What can we do from a work-life balance perspective? And that's really what we wanted to achieve. And this team, and when I say team, it achieved it in spades. It took us about 8 months. 8 months to kind of come to a decision point. And then it took us only 10 weeks to actually get the project done. And talk about obstacles. I mean, we had many, many obstacles. And I think on 4 different occasions we kind of sunk our heads, and then all of a sudden somebody came in and says, I got an idea. And sure enough, somebody from one of the companies or one of the members or one of the team members actually had a cool idea. We ran with it, and we actually started to get it back up off the ground and starting to work it. So, you know, there was literally thousands of moving parts to make this happen. We have 200 Cray employees that all had different opinions of, well, should we move, what should we move? There's a big change. This is a huge change for us. We went from private offices, all of us had private offices, and we came into an environment that was open workspace. What are we gonna do? You know, you can hear each other. You know, we went from a very calm environment where we could just come in and just sit down. You know, it was very different for us, you know, and this is a very new environment for us. We got through a lot of that. So first and foremost, I have to thank all the employees that you see around this building. They're the ones that actually make Cray great. And actually it's been great because these people here, for our supercomputers, they make the supercomputers sing. So I'd like to thank the Cray employees, the City of St. Paul. I'd like to thank Area for doing that introduction to get us to here. 20 Below Studio, who is the designers and architects of what you see here. They did a fantastic job. Cressa Partners, which are product managers. NEA Galtier, CCP Construction, Hendrickson, Stoll Reeves, Capital City Partnership, and the River City Council. And then we had lots and lots of other suppliers and manufacturers and tradesmen and electricians and plumbers and you name it. It was a lot of people involved in this thing. So we faced a bunch of challenges. We got through them. We're excited to be here. And it really speaks volumes for what I call Minnesota integrity, ethics, and kind of the passion we have to make this thing successful. And actually, as a matter of fact, I'd like to really thank everybody. This happens to be a chip from the world's fastest supercomputer. It's directly from the Jaguar machine in Tennessee. And I'd like to give this to you, Mayor Coleman, as a token of our thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, our final speaker. Every great lease transaction requires a great tenant, great people working on behalf of the tenant, and a great tenant rep firm, a very supportive city, and a lot of other people doing a lot of jobs. But it also requires a great landlord. And I think in National Exchange Advisors, NEA Galtier, we have probably the best landlord in the state of Minnesota. And I'm going to introduce Steve Resnick. Steve stayed with this project. He's a man of great integrity who is very creative in trying to figure out how to get things done. And he's always looking for win-win situations, not win-lose situations. So it's my pleasure to work with Steve and to introduce him, and he really helped to make this transaction happen. Steve.
Welcome to Cray Plaza. I want to acknowledge all the Cray employees. I think some of the comments about some of the obstacles may in fact be understated. We appreciate you coming here and joining our building and our distinguished staff of tenants. I'm going to cite off a few names because really without these people the transaction it just wouldn't have taken place, and with all the great intentions in the world it doesn't mean you can solve some of the obstacles that I think we face to get this deal done. So first I want to thank Mr. Coogle here, Wayne Coogle, for seeing in this building this tremendous physical specimen, what my partners and I saw when we purchased this building a few years ago. I can't take any credit for what you see here. It's just a remarkable building, and thank you, Wayne. I want to thank John Lebowski, Sarah Fossen, Sue Gonzer, and the staff from the Capital City Partnership. Just an incredible organization. You should check that out if you care anything about St. Paul. I want to thank Mayor Coleman so much for your outreach and your support. Cecile Bedore, Ellen Mueller, you guys, we were on the phone constantly with everybody from the city. You know, they were using all their finesse to get deals done, getting special hotel rates and bike routes and bus routes and everything you could name. So we really appreciate that. I'd like to thank Matt Anfang from BOMA for all your efforts. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your help. Nan Hines was mentioned by Mayor Coleman. She's really the brains of this operation. Nan worked day and night to get this deal done, and Nan, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. I appreciate it on behalf of the building and the city and everything, so thanks a lot. And I want to thank the Galtier Plaza, former Galtier Plaza, now Cray Plaza staff for hanging in there and doing some heavy lifting. Building 56,000 square feet out in 10 weeks, not an easy deal. CCP Construction, all the vendors that Wayne named did a fantastic job, and I want to thank everybody for that. I want to thank our existing tenants for just kind of enduring that hullabaloo, if you will. Everybody was going around, and there was demolition in one suite, another suite was starting, so we appreciate your patience. I want to thank Area Tenant Rep and CBRE for assisting us with the transaction, and I want to thank mainly the DSI, Bob Kessler, Jim Bloom, for all their help and support in getting through all the architectural work and the plan approvals and everything else. We really appreciate your assistance. And finally, I want to thank the community and citizens of St. Paul for giving this building, formerly Galtier Plaza, now Cray Plaza, an opportunity to reinvent itself and become part of what we think is kind of just a vibrant, resurging downtown, well, in this case, Lower Town area. And I have nothing but gratitude. It's, as I said to somebody a little earlier, it's better to be lucky than smart. And I found myself in a situation surrounded with great people, and I'm just extremely appreciative to have Cray here as our tenant. Thanks very much.
Thank you. So in conclusion, we're just about to ask you to join us, and we're going to walk over and cut the ribbon, and then we have a reception. But my parting comments, the mayor has done such a great job in making St. Paul, our capital city, the most livable city in America. But a lot of things have to happen in order to make that. And I just want to say some things that you may not think of. Because what this is about is it's adding 230 plus jobs in our capital city. But in addition to that, it's increased hotel rooms, it's increased restaurant and retail work, it's new restaurants opening right behind us here in Bulldog and Barrio, etc. And it's maybe a new Saints ballpark right behind us as well. All of these are pieces that make a city livable and vibrant, and these are just steps along the way of doing that. So I want to thank all of the Cray employees for dealing with change. I know change is the dominant force in our society today. If not change, then the threat of change. And I know that you've gone through a lot of change. There's new commuting patterns. You had to do things differently, but I hope in the spirit of taking it the right way and being creative, I hope you circulate through the Skyways, you find new restaurants, new things to do, and you do things during the days that you don't have to do on the weekends. So, in conclusion, if you join us, we're going to walk over and cut the ribbon. Thank all of you for coming.